Hello. Hi. Hope you're well. Hope you're swell. Hope you're wavy. Hope you're gravy. Shout out to Come to Rest ASMR and Tony Triggers ASMR and pretty much anyone I've seen do this particular trigger. I think Come to Rest does like carpet brushing and stuff like that. Tony's all over the place. Tony will be like in a car park, in a warehouse, in a basement, running up and down the stairs, in a dungeon. He's just all over the place. So I've seen a bunch of people do the whole brushing on the floor thing. I don't know who it started with. But shout out to the people. I thought I'd try something different. That girl I was talking about yesterday, the one I'd gone out with, I was just thinking, because I was thinking about my music, right? And my release schedule. And I remember that this girl had gotten it. She got herself added to a Spotify playlist, which is a big deal for like independent artists because it gives you some visibility. So she was very excited. And she was talking about how next up is like getting added to like a Colors. You know the YouTube channel Colors? They do the Colors live performances and stuff. I don't know if y'all know that channel, but anyway, and she was talking about how she's gonna be on that next and whatnot. Getting added to a place is great, but it's like I think you have to keep doing it to grow significantly. You might get a little visibility, but the way the streaming game works with music, it's a lot of work, man. A lot of things have to go right. So it's one of those things you have to get more and more and more songs entered into these playlists. But just getting added once is still, it's a great nod. It's a great acknowledgement. So the issue with me is when I upload my music, you have to upload like 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance in order to qualify for these playlists, to be eligible to be added. I always upload like a few days in advance. It takes a few days for it to be processed and added to the stores and stuff. Do some floor tapping as well. It takes a few days to be added to the stores to be processed. So I always just do it very helter-skelter, very randomly. Not much planning. But because of that, I never get added to playlists. So at least I never have a chance to get added to playlists. And I was just thinking because I was talking about how at first I wanted to do like a thing of just releasing a project with 100 songs. So everything I make this year, I just drop all at once. But then I was like, I found out that my DSP does what am I saying? My distributor, they don't allow me to upload projects that long. Other distributors do, but the one I use doesn't. Very, very whack. Very gay. And they said only 35 songs at a time. Only 35 songs at a time. So I was like, okay, so that strategy's out the window. It's not really a strategy, to be honest. Well, look, my reasoning was more so like, it's less of like a strategy for success, and it was just a concept for a project where I was like, I like the idea of having something you could just put on shuffle and listen to, and you'd be reminded of some song you've forgotten about. So every time you listen to it on shuffle, some song will come on and go, oh, I forgot about this song. Because it's such a long project, so it's like a lot of time can go by and you never hear particular songs. But when it's always on shuffle, like you might hear something that you last listened to like a couple months ago. Because you're not going to listen to the whole thing every day, right? So I just like that, because I have a playlist of my own music. I listen to my own music quite a lot, and I have a very long playlist just full of my songs, and I always put it on shuffle. And I'm always reminded of songs I made like last year or the year before that. I'm like, oh my God, I made this. I forgot about this. So that's always a cool. So I wanted to replicate that with this. In my mind, it's like kind of like a playlist. That's what I was calling it. I was calling it a playlist. This project. So that's what I wanted to do. But ideas, my distributor was like, nope, 35 songs. Oh, fuck you. But anyway, so I was like, okay, now that strategy's out the window, what else can I do? So I thought, I'll just max out the limit, 35 songs. I'll just max out the limit. But then I was like, wait, I thought about this girl and how she got added to a playlist. And I was like, maybe I can do it too. Maybe I can get added to a playlist. But to give myself the best chance, instead of doing like 35 song projects, I should like upload not every week, because then I won't be eligible. Like if I do like the every week thing, but maybe I could do every week though. If I upload in advance, I could still do every week. Just give myself the best chance. I build up songs, and then when I have enough, I have a whole release schedule. Yeah, I might do that actually. How many songs do I have now? Just count. My phone is here. How many songs have I? I'll just count what I put on YouTube. I have a couple in the stash as well. So let's count. I got 1, 2, wait, what? That's not right. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2 in the stash. Yeah, I got enough. I should upload today actually. I got 14 because I got 2 in the stash. 12 songs already uploaded. Yeah, I think I'll upload. Yeah. So those should be on streaming platforms. The first project would be 7 songs. It should be on streaming platforms 3 weeks from now. I don't know how long it needs to be uploaded in advance to qualify for playlist. We'll see. I'll check, and then whatever the schedule is, I'll stick to that. And then yeah, I'll be ahead. So then every time, at the end of every week, at the end of every Saturday, I know it's time. Well, whenever I have 7 songs, I'll know that it's time to upload. And that way, I give myself the best chance of getting added to a playlist. Give myself the best chance of getting added to a playlist. You know, I think about how I think there's something wrong with this system, like music streaming platforms, and how hard it is to come up. I think it should be difficult. Obviously, like success isn't promised or guaranteed. But I think about YouTube and how with YouTube, when you upload videos, like there's a good chance of you being discovered by some people at least. With Spotify, it's hard to discover new artists, like independent artists, up and coming artists. There's a bunch of playlists, but whenever you check out these people on these like when you check out their profile, they always have like tens and thousands of monthly listeners, or like hundreds of thousands or millions of monthly listeners. You never like find like proper like up and coming artists. It's hard to discover up and coming artists on these streaming platforms. Whereas with YouTube, like for example, the ASMR, I'm always finding new ASM artists. Always finding new ASM artists who might have, who just got started, or they just have 1,000 subscribers, 500 subscribers, whatever. It's not that hard to find new ASM artists, you know? And you can use filters as well. I wish with Spotify there was a way to use filters where it's like, show me up and coming artists. That should be a thing. Like, show me like new people who have no listeners, so I can like lock in to some fresh sounds. That's not a thing. So it makes it very hard. And I found out that UMG, the label UMG, they own shares in Spotify, which is insane. That's insane. Think about how big of a conflict of interest that is. For a music label to own shares on a streaming platform. Because theoretically, they would have influence, because they own shares in the company, on like the promotion of their artists. Because UMG has a lot of artists on Spotify. So because they own shares, now to be fair, it's at 3%, it's 3 point something percent, but hey, that's a lot. When you consider the size of Spotify, 3% is quite a lot. But theoretically, they could use that leverage to promote their own artists, which would give them an advantage over independent artists. I don't own any shares in Spotify. Any significant shares. No, I don't own any shares. What am I saying? I don't own any shares in Spotify, but independent artists in general don't own significant shares in Spotify. You know what it would be like? So, like, if we did use ASMR as an example, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm not calling anyone out or anything. Like, imagine if Jojo owns shares in YouTube. Every time you see his video on the recommended page, wouldn't you think, is he using his influence to promote his own videos? Because he's a shareholder. What if I'm seeing a lot of JoJo's videos because he's pulling some levers behind the scenes? It's a question. Obviously, I'm not saying that that's not happening. That was just an example. But with UMG, they legitimately own shares. And the artists are constantly getting pushed on these platforms. And a lot of people have talked about how, during that whole Drake Kendrick beef, because both of them are signed to UMG, but UMG likes one more than they like, a lot more than they like the other. They don't like Drake that much. But people were saying they were seeing a lot of Kendrick recommendations, even though they don't listen to him that much. And when they would search for Drake songs, like the Not Like Us song would pop up. There are a lot of videos that were being posted online showing this, people screen recording. You can look it up. That was a real thing. People trying to listen to, and it wasn't just with Drake. Like, they're trying to listen to Drake music, and then Kendrick would be next in the queue, which was very weird. Or like if you search Drake on the search tab, and then Kendrick pops up as one of the recommendations. But it wasn't just with Drake; it was with a lot of artists. Kendrick just kept popping up, regardless of whether people listened to him or not, whether they were looking for him or not. So it's a question about what's going on, man. As an independent artist, you want to feel like you have a shot, at least like a fair shot to get discovered. I'm very grateful with YouTube that I can upload, and actually build an audience, and actually have a chance. I feel like I have a chance. A fighting chance with these Spotify, with these streaming platforms. The process is so I was gonna say transparent. It's not. It's anything but transparent. It's so opaque. You don't know what the hell is going on. Like, how do you get? Like, for example, with these playlists, it's not entirely clear how they pick who gets added and what incentives they are and all these other things behind the scenes. All of it's pretty much just upload and hey man, if you make it, you make it. There's no real communication beyond that. And there's a lot of speculation of the system being gamed. A lot of people paying to get put into playlists. If you think about playlists like Rap Caviar, which is an elite playlist, not anyone's getting into that playlist, guys. Like, if you're an independent artist, the chances of you getting into a playlist like Rap Caviar, regardless of how good your music is very low. When you look at playlists like Rap Caviar, it's the top artists that are on that playlist. Why is that? Surely it should just be the best songs on the platform. And since it's a playlist that's curated, it shouldn't necessarily be about streams. It should just be about. So let's go to Rap Caviar right now and see who's on there. So I'll just read like a couple of the people that are on here. Playboy Cardi. So I'm just reading from top to bottom. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a lot of artists. Oh, it's actually not that many. Playboy Cardi, Lil Tecca, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Baby, Playboy Cardi, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, Big the Plug, Playboy Cardi, Kendrick Lamar, Boss Man, whatever, Nav, Playboy Cardi, Drake, Lil Durk, Kendrick Lamar, Douchey. A lot of people, by the way, this Douchey artist, or Doge, I don't know how you say her name, people think she's an industry plant because no one's ever heard of her, but she's skyrocketed and the rise seems very suspicious. It doesn't seem organic. Because, I'm sure she has some fans, but people are just left wondering, like, why do they keep shoving her in our faces? Even, so if you go to her artist page, 60 million monthly listeners, guys. She has nearly as many as, maybe played a song. So, she has more monthly listeners than Playboy Cardi, who's been doing this for a while now. He's actually big. Say what you want about his music. I didn't hear the new album. I'm not that big of a fan, but like we can acknowledge that Playboy Cardi is huge. She has more monthly listeners than Playboy Cardi, and people are just like, how is this possible? Like, we don't listen to her that much. Again, I'm sure she has some fans, but it just doesn't feel organic. Like, there's a disconnect between what people are hearing in real life when they're out and about, what they're playing on their own phones, when they're like, listening, when you're out with your friends at a party or at a club or whatever, what you're hearing when you're out and about versus what's being promoted as the hottest on these streaming platforms. There's a disconnect. It's like, how is this bitch? Anyway. So, where were we? So, Douchey, Lil Baby, Quavo, Central C, Gello, Key Glock, YG, Playboy Cardi, Gunna, Nems, Offset, NLE Chopper, Gunna, Lotto, Tyler the Creator, Douchey, Glorilla, Lil Baby, Tyga, Key Glock, Don Toliver, J. Cole, Turbo, Central C, Jack Harlow, Glorilla, Friday, Moneybagg Yo, Larry June, Douchey, Drake, Sexy Red, Skrilla, JT, Lucky. These are all like established artists with a significant following. None of them up and coming. Douchey should be up and coming, but she seems to be like she's bigger than Playboy Cardi, apparently, at least on Spotify. And people just don't buy it. So there's just questions, and this is just Rap Caviar. You can apply the same concept to a lot of these playlists. To Spotify curated playlists in particular. There are like indie playlists with significant followings to discover indie artists. The issue with a lot of those playlists is some of them are paid. You have to pay to get in. It's very sus. So there's issues with some of these places. Not all places are like that, but there are some where you do pay. There's ways to get in, and I've gone online and checked. There's ways to get in. Some you just submit. Somehow it works is you pay for someone to listen. You pay a fee, and someone listens to your song, but they can reject you. They can say, no, we're not adding this, it's not good enough. And there's various ways to do it. But I feel like the system's just not working properly, man. I think there's a lot of gaming. So with this Drake lawsuit, he's suing UMG, and I think a very surface level interpretation of the lawsuit is that, he's suing Kendrick. He's not suing Kendrick. Kendrick was not named as the person he's suing. He's suing the label. He's not suing Kendrick. In fact, UMG said, instead of suing us, you should sue Kendrick. He's like, no, I'm suing you. UMG, I'm suing you. And basically his claim is that they defamed him because, they're calling him a pedo. And they were using bots and payola and all these dirty tactics to promote that song in inorganic ways to make it seem bigger than it actually was in order to defame him. And he's saying the reason why they did that is because before the beef, he was in the middle of contract negotiations. He was renegotiating his contract with them, which is done on a fairly regular basis. They negotiate new deals, and the speculation is he's supposed to get like $500 million, $500 to $1 billion, however much, because he's one of the biggest artists in the world. He's consistently he's the most streamed artist of all time. He holds the record for the most music streams. I think album sales get gamed a lot. There's a whole issue with merch bundles, and there's various ways to trick the system when it comes to album units sold. I think streams can be gamed as well, but I think that's as far as accuracy goes, the more accurate, because you should look into how they game the whole bundles thing. It's crazy. But anyway, regardless, he's worth a lot, and he was negotiating his contract. So his claim in the lawsuit is that they wanted to devalue him so that when it's time to negotiate, he's forced to ask for a lower price. So in the middle of negotiations, this whole thing happened, this beef happened, and think about what happened during that beef, guys. It wasn't just Kendrick, it was everybody who just turned on this guy. It was crazy to see. Because there was the whole thing of 20v1. It was way more than 20v1. People in radio were calling this guy out and making fun of him. Label execs were calling him out. Like, everyone was clowning him. The media was clowning. It was like, wow. It just seemed so crazy to me. It seemed fishy. So anyway, his claim is that there was this massive campaign to paint him as a pedo in order to force him to bring down his asking price for the next contract. Because obviously, if he was actually a pedo and there's any real proof of that, he'd be in jail right now, guys. If you're actually guilty of these sex crimes, you don't sue the people accusing you or whatever. Because UMG, what their argument is, and by the way, this is all available online, like the court documents. Their argument is that no reasonable person, like they literally said this, no reasonable person would have taken Kendrick's bars literally. It was entertainment, it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. Anyone who listened to those songs and genuinely thought he's a pedo is unreasonable. That's what they said. No reasonable person would take the lyrics literally. And Drake's lawyer's argument is that people genuinely think I'm a pedo. Like, because y'all were spreading that it was in the Super Bowl and all this other stuff. And the Super Bowl got like 100, that Kendrick's halftime performance got like 100 million plus views. There are people out here, guys, who genuinely think this guy is a pedo because of the Kendrick song. Because most people don't look past the surface. They just hear these things and they run with it. That's most people. So So he's suing them for defamation, and he keeps making progress in the case. We'll see how he does, but I think if he wins, it won't just be about him getting a payout, whatever. This will have major implications for the music industry in general, because one of the things he's suing them for is using illegal tactics to promote the songs. Payola, which means pay to play. You pay radio to play the songs. You pay streaming platforms. I think Spotify is also implicated in the lawsuit. I'm not sure. But basically he's saying they paid a lot of organizations to promote the song inorganically. If Drake wins this is going to be a big dub, not just for him, but for independent artists. Even the clowns that are against him in this lawsuit, they don't understand that you want this guy to win this lawsuit. Because we know for a fact that these record labels are cheating. We've always known this. After the beef, people all of a sudden became pro-label, which is insane to me. After the beef, people just became like, UMG is the best. It's like, no guys, these people are criminals. And regardless of how you feel about Drake, you should not be supporting record labels. Like, people have been speaking out against record labels for a long time. You know who else they did this with? They did this with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was renegotiating his contract when the pedophile claims came out. And he was acquitted in court. He was never found guilty of any of this. The guy who accused him, I think, killed himself or something. He was a very shady character. And his family said he's lying. The first person to initially accuse Michael, who was the father of the child that Michael allegedly assaulted. The child said it wasn't true. And the stepfather of the child recorded himself having a lunch meeting with that guy, in which the guy admitted that it was extortion. You can listen to this online. Again, Michael was acquitted in court. They never found him. He was never found guilty of any of these claims. And yet, people genuinely believe. If you ask the average person on the street, is Michael Jackson a pedo? People will say yes. That's the generally held perception. And these claims popped up when he was renegotiating his contract, when he was calling out certain execs, because you're saying that, I think he was saying that one of these execs was taking advantage of Jennifer Lopez or something. He was calling the guy was it Jennifer Lopez or Mariah Carey? One of these female singers. And you're saying the guy's the devil, he's very evil, he's doing this and that to this girl, yada, yada, yada. You can look at all this stuff online. And then this is when the whole pedo stuff popped up, because I think it was Sony he was going against at the time. It wasn't UMG, it was Sony. But it's the same situation. Guys, these labels are wicked, man. So any artist with half a brain would be like, yeah, no. You need to get the people out of the way, because, like, as an independent artist, there's a ceiling. Like, you can't. It shouldn't be the case that you need a record label to reach Taylor Swift or Drake levels, in terms of streams at least. Like, the stream thing, that should have nothing to do with label access. The platforms should be open for everyone, and it shouldn't be about how much money you have or anything like that. It's just about users and how they interact with these apps. And if they choose to make this person the biggest artist in the world, that's their prerogative. With YouTube, you have a real chance of becoming the next big YouTuber without any corporate backing. That's not true with Spotify and Apple Music and all these platforms. You can get big to an extent, but when you think about the biggest artists, the gap between, like, the biggest indie artists and the biggest corporate artists, the gap is so massive, it's unbelievable. Say what you want about Drake, he's the only artist of the big ones who was not using merch bundles, who was not using a lot of these schemes to boost his album units and whatnot. He's the only one. And you can verify this, especially if you look at some of his album sales. They're more consistent. They're not these unnatural spikes. Like Drake has remained fairly consistent over the years with these numbers. But some of these other artists, how they like Travis Scott is notorious for this, bro. Travis Scott is notorious for gaming the system. But anyway, I think it's in the best interest of independent artists for this guy to win this lawsuit because it'll expose them and force them to change. And it'll give them less power because now the game will be exposed. Which is why they're trying so hard to get this case thrown out. But unfortunately for them, everything that keeps happening keeps strengthening Drake's case. So the Super Bowl thing was big because this whole thing is like, these people have defamed me. They call me a pedo when I'm not. And, if he's actually a pedo, then, like, he wouldn't be out in the open in court fighting against the claims because it could be very easy for them to be like, okay, let's just prove that he is. Let's get some investigators, all this sort of stuff. He wouldn't want to bring attention to himself in this way because it'd be very easy for them to throw him in jail. But there's no evidence. There's none because he didn't do it. It's a very ugly rumor. Regardless, the Super Bowl thing, 100 million plus people saw that. Many were walking away thinking, oh, Drake's a pedo. And the Grammys, I think someone at the Grammys, or one of these shows, it was Conan O'Brien at one of these award ceremonies called Drake a pedo. On one of the biggest live TV programs in the world. Live, in front of millions of people, called Drake a pedo. All these sort of things. So all of this is just strengthening his case. Like the lawyers can say, look, what's happening? This rumor has run rampant, and people are calling this guy a pedo, left, right, and center. Someone must pay for this. And yeah, it's to the point where the lawyers are arguing that money's not going to be enough. There has to be something else they get to make up for this. So there's a legal term for that, for when money's not enough and yet they have to pay in a very significant way. You have to give them something that money could never, that money itself wouldn't match. And the speculation is he's going to own the publishing rights, if he wins, for Not Like Us. Like Drake will own the song. They'll be forced to sign over the rights to him. And maybe some other stuff. Because, guys, the damage is significant, man. Some of y'all are just like, he's a pedo. The damage is done. So it's like they have to pay somehow. So that would be a legendary plot twist, if he ends up owning the rights to the song. And, guys, if this guy wins, Kendrick is so screwed because UMG is going to turn on him so quickly. They're going to want to get their money back. So that guy is going to be so screwed. You being dead. He deserves it, though. He deserves it. I don't like Kendrick, to be honest with you. But regardless, it's not about Kendrick. It's about this label. Regardless of how you feel about Drake, as independent artists should want him to win because, bro, these people are so corrupt, man, and they need to get out of the way. It just doesn't seem like fair. Like, I read the list to you of all those artists on Rap Caviar. There's no way an artist like me gets on there. Or any other artist who's independent. You're not getting on Rap Caviar just being independent. There's clearly a game being played. Well, to be fair, artists like Russ, who is independent to an extent, yeah, he is independent. He had a publishing deal with someone at some point, but for the most part, he's independent. I think Russ has been on Rap Caviar a couple times. There's been a couple independent artists on there, but they're anomalies. They're so huge already by themselves. Like, Russ is a huge artist. Like, how many monthly listeners does he have? Probably like 20 million or something. Let's Google Russ. Not Google, let's search Russ in Spotify. Russ. Artist. No, 11 million. It's not that big compared to some of these other people. How is Douchey bigger than Russ? I guarantee you. Guys, this is a guarantee. This is a promise. If you were to put Russ in a stadium, he would sell it out because he has. Russ came to South Africa. I live in South Africa. He came to South Africa, had a sold out show where everyone was singing all his. This guy had like a 2 hour plus set. These people, and I was shocked, were singing his lyrics word for word, every song, the whole crowd, for 2 hours straight. In South Africa. In South Africa. He's bigger in America. Put him in a stadium in America, he'll sell that bitch out. Put Douchey in the same stage, she's not selling out a stadium, guys. She's not that big. How does she have 60 million monthly listeners on Spotify? I'm telling you, there's something wrong, bro. These people are fucking playing with us. Anyway. I'm gonna do the playlist thing regardless. And then try to see if I can get added to some playlists. Because you can get added to like something. There's some spotlight playlists. Official playlists you can get added to, but yeah. So I'm gonna try that and see how that goes. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I like to pray that my videos will be a God, thank you for this individual watching, so no things to make them whole. And unique and God on my path towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you, bless this person with wonderful people in my life who love them, take care of them, and bring the absolute best out of them. And thanks for maintaining the ones who are there do the same thing. Thanks for blessing this person with love and marriage and sustaining the love and marriage and making me very, very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with a spiritual gratitude so I can get thanks for the wonderful things in my life. By giving thanks to God, peace, contentment, and attract any more blessings. Let your friends be found in this person's life, showing that your God is real, that you love them, and you always can be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness of this person, everything you care about. Emmanuel, pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen, amen, and amen.